I spent a good portion of 2020 binging Star Trek in all its forms, and occasionally broke up the trek with a palate cleanser. And as this franchise too has several choices, I'd often choose to watch some Law & Order. Hi, and welcome back to Katie's Corner in Space, and yes, you heard me right, Law & Order. Not only did we watch a lot of sci-fi in my house as a kid, but crime shows. Perry Mason, Matlock, and yes, Law & Order. Of course, now as an adult, I continue to watch it in all its forms, even Law & Order UK, and often find myself smiling when a familiar actor appears because I'd gotten used to them being in Trek or Law & Order, and then bam, there they would be on an episode of the other show.
You are so easily amused.
But I get a kick out of seeing familiar faces in a new role, like a captain as a lawyer, or a Bajoran minister as a troubled father, or a former Starfleet officer as a detective. One example of appearing on Law & Order, among other shows, before heading over to Trek is Michelle Hurd. This troubled former Starfleet officer was one of the original main cast members on the first season of Law & Order SVU. As Detective Jeffries, she seemed to be on the ball, but this character had issues because of the work done at SVU to explain her leaving so early.
You're here for my job.
This is awkward.
Try my side of the moment.
There were behind-the-scenes reasons she left having to do with another actor, but I'm not here to bash. However, it was a real shame because hers was a very well-written character I really enjoyed. Now, as you know, Hurd plays the ever-irritated but generally reliable Raffi, who is back in Starfleet and is expected to appear regularly in the final season of Picard starting next week on the 16th. When it comes to familiar faces turning up in the strangest of places, I think the character Mudd would be on the top 10 list at least.
Hardcore Fenton Mudd, what have you been up to?
And Rainn Wilson, playing him in Season 1 Discovery, was just as surprising to this The Office watcher.
Okay, you know what? You can be a witness. Can you reprimand him, please?
Though, full disclosure, I first met Rainn on an episode of a show called Dark Angel, which is also a fun watch at only 2 seasons, if you can find it. During its one episode appearance on Law & Order SVU, Rainn portrayed a rather paranoid custodial engineer who was leery of sharing his DNA for a crime he ultimately had nothing to do with. On Discovery, however, he was first a prisoner with a rather interesting bug, and then came aboard the Discovery itself, Trojan horse style, causing our very own Discovery Groundhog Day episode. A trope you either love or hate. I happen to love them, so the entire episode was a pleasure, both for the trope and for Mudd. Frank Langella, I do apologize for the pronunciation I'm sure I'm getting wrong, played Minister Jaro during the first 3 episodes of DS9's second season, and also happens to have appeared on a Season 4 SVU episode. It's a rough one, I won't describe or go into details, but Frank's portrayal of a drunk father, abused and powerless in his own home, was very well done and depressing, and a far cry from the man we see in Deep Space Nine. Carolyn McCormick appeared twice on Star Trek in a minor role as Minuet, Riker's hollow dream girl, then fantasy wife created by an orphaned child. She turned out to be the clue that let Riker know what he saw and felt around him through the episode could not be real. The fact he'd married her was a bit of a giveaway, as marrying holograms was a ridiculous notion at the time.
Mr. Paris, meet Lana, my blushing bride.
Procreating might have also been complicated. However, Carolyn gained a reoccurring role in Season 2 of the original Law & Order as Dr. Olivet, the sensitive therapist who consulted for the NYPD on and off throughout the series up to today's continuation. She also appeared on 6 episodes of SVU. Now, one person involved in crime shows long before being stranded in the Delta Quadrant is Kate Mulgrew. In fact, I first met Kate as Mrs. Columbo. You know, that fellow with the trench coat who loved mysteries?
One other thing.
One more thing. One thing. Oh, one more thing, sir. We got something else on the gun. Did I mention that?
No, you didn't. What, Lieutenant?
Yeah, his wife was played by Kate, and Ms. Mulgrew even got her own short-lived spin-off called Mrs. Columbo. Of course, we know her best as Captain Janeway, now Vice Admiral Janeway in Prodigy, but did you know that before she was showing off her fashion sense in orange, she played a representative of the U.S. Attorney out to take down a website exploiting children?
Detective Stapleton, you saved me a trip.
Hard-nosed but fair in the end, Kate played the part well, though her appearances were very short, with only 2 scenes in the episode. And that's just the beginning of my list. Let me know who I haven't mentioned yet, and if they're not on my list currently, I'll add them and give you credit for your addition during the video in which the name is included. There are quite a few more, as it seems both Star Trek and Law & Order make great starts to one's career, plus both shows provide ample opportunity for one-shot parts to keep busy. So if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like below, as I have at least 3 more installments in mind to share, and if you want to be alerted when my next video comes out, don't forget to hit that alerts bell after you subscribe. Until the next video, take a look at more Star Trek info here, and I'll see you there.